Have you ever had a problem making decisions? Sorting through all the mental clutter and thoughts looking for the right one? It's difficult, isn't it? You feel overwhelmed, unclear, and that often leads to decision paralysis, meaning we never even make the decision or take the action. Today we're diving into the mind of Sun Tzu, the legendary author of The Art of War. A lot of people know it as a military manual collecting dust, written during China's chaotic warring states period. But beneath that military strategy, it's a masterclass in applied psychology. And we're going to decode its ancient hacks, not for conquering kingdoms, but for achieving strategic clarity in your life, fighting the battles against bias, emotional turmoil, and confusion that rage inside all of us. Our first enemy? Emotional reactivity. That knee-jerk anger when you get a critical email, the anxiety that paralyzes decision-making. Sun Tzu knew this well. He explicitly warns generals against acting out of anger or haste. In The Art of War, he states something akin to, "A sovereign cannot raise an army because he is enraged, nor can a general fight a battle because he is resentful." Why? Because in his time, a moment of rage could lead to annihilation. Survival demanded cool calculation. Psychologically, this is timeless. When strong emotions hit, our amygdala, the brain's alarm system, can hijack our rational thinking. Emotional reasoning takes over. We act impulsively, not logically. I remember early in my career, getting feedback I knew was slightly unfair. Instead of breathing and analyzing, I fired back a defensive email instantly. It achieved nothing but damaging a relationship. Sun Tzu's wisdom here is about building an emotional fortress. Recognizing the emotion, yes, but not letting it command the troops, your actions. That's the first step to clear thinking, mastering the inner chaos. But even with a calm mind, we face another insidious enemy, biased perception. Seeing the world not as it is, but as we expect it to be, or want it to be. This is where Sun Tzu's most famous line comes in. Know the enemy and know yourself. In 100 battles, you will never be in peril. Knowing the enemy meant rigorous intelligence gathering, essential in the shifting alliances and deceptive tactics of the warring states. But knowing yourself, that's the deep psychological insight. It means understanding your own tendencies, your assumptions, your blind spots. Modern psychology calls this tackling cognitive biases. Think confirmation bias, seeking out information that confirms what we already believe, or the availability heuristic, overestimating the importance of information that comes easily to mind. As Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman outlines in Thinking Fast and Slow, our brains constantly take these mental shortcuts, often leading us astray. Sun Tzu's demand for objective assessment of the terrain, the enemy, and yourself is a direct countermand to these biases. How often do we misjudge a situation at work or in our relationships because we assume someone's intentions based on our own biases rather than seeking objective data? It's like fighting in a self-created fog. This brings up a tough question, one that sits right at the intersection of Sun Tzu's objective clarity and our own inner world. When your deeply held values or beliefs clash with cold, objective facts, how do you personally navigate that tension? Does clarity demand we abandon values, or is there a way to hold both? Pause the video for a second if you need to, and honestly reflect. Then, let me know your approach down in the comments. It's a complex battleground many of us face. Okay, moving on. So, we've tackled inner chaos and biased perception. The final enemy Sun Tzu helps us conquer for strategic clarity is inflexible thinking, getting locked into one way of doing things, one rigid viewpoint. Sun Tzu compares effective strategy to water. Water shapes its course according to the nature of the ground over which it flows. He emphasizes adaptability, unpredictability, shaping circumstances rather than being rigidly defined by them. In the warring states, a predictable general was a dead general. Psychologically, this speaks to cognitive flexibility, the ability to switch perspectives, adapt to new information, and modify strategies. It's the opposite of a fixed mindset, a concept explored by psychologist Carol Dweck. When we cling rigidly to our plans or opinions despite changing evidence, our thinking becomes brittle, unclear. Strategic clarity requires the ability to flow, to adapt, just like water finding its path. I once worked on a project where we clung to the original plan long after the data showed it wasn't working, purely out of stubbornness. It cost us dearly. Sun Tzu reminds us that true clarity often lies in the willingness to pivot. So, how does this ancient battlefield wisdom help us think clearly today? In our modern world, we aren't fighting with spears, but we are battling information overload, rampant misinformation, intense polarization, and constant pressure. Sun Tzu's principles, building that emotional fortress, ruthlessly examining our own biases through self-awareness and seeking objective data, and maintaining cognitive flexibility, aren't just military tactics. They are profound psychological tools for navigating this complex modern landscape with clarity. They teach us to pause, analyze, adapt, and ultimately to understand the terrain of our own minds before engaging with the world. That is the foundation of thinking clearly. All right, fellow strategists, your briefing on Sun Tzu's psychological toolkit for clarity is complete. Now, for your mission, should you choose to accept it, this week, identify just one of these enemies in your own thinking. Maybe it's reacting emotionally to news headlines, sticking to an assumption despite evidence, or rigidly holding on to a plan that isn't working. Choose one Sun Tzu-inspired tactic, perhaps pausing before reacting, actively seeking opposing viewpoints, or consciously considering alternative paths. Fortify your mental battlefield. And when you do, here's the crucial part. Come back here, in the comments, and share which enemy you targeted and what tactic you deployed. What did you notice? What challenges did you face? Let's learn from each other's campaigns. Iron sharpens iron and brings us all a little more clarity. Because ultimately, mastering the art of clear thinking isn't about ancient battles. It's about winning the most important campaign of all, the one for a rational, intentional, and more understandable life. If you like this dive into human psychology through history, please consider liking and subscribing for more videos like this. Thanks for watching Historic Psychology, and I'll see you on the next one.